We got an update when it comes to Kyrie Irving. We thought that he was going to be this like part-time basketball player. Well, not so fast. The Nets announced yesterday morning that Kyrie will not be that part-time basketball player, that if he is not vaccinated, that he will not be able to play with the Brooklyn Nets. This is big news because it went viral on Twitter, and Kyrie was trending on every single platform of what Kyrie will do now. We thought the Brooklyn Nets were supporting him in the sense of do what's best for you. We'll have you practice when you can, and then also come on the games for the away games. But with your GM coming out now saying that that is not what is best of interest for the team, now what will be next for Kyrie? But we did learn more about from Shams Charania's report.
Yeah, that Shams report was Kyrie's team putting out what Kyrie Irving would like the narrative to be surrounding his decision not to do this. He claims that he's not anti-science or anti-vax, that he is anti-mandate. I believe the exact quote was, it's a stance that Irving has explained to close teammates. To him, this is about a grander fight than the one on the court, and Irving is challenging a perceived control of society and people's livelihood, according to sources with knowledge of Irving's mindset. It is a decision that he believes he is capable to make given his current life dynamics. Kyrie wants to be a voice for the voiceless, one source said. Here's the deal. Kyrie Irving has every right to not get vaccinated if he doesn't want to be. And the Brooklyn Nets have every right to not have him be a functioning member of this team because that ultimately affects their season, that ultimately affects their championship goals. It's a right on both sides, and that's where you're at. And we've talked about it many a times on this show already. Like, will Kyrie Irving cave, and will he end up getting vaccinated? I honestly don't think he will. I don't think he'll play. I think we're now in a situation where either the Nets are going to have to trade him or he sits out this season. And they could trade him because he can play in other places in terms of home games, at least. Like, this is only a mandate that affects New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, I believe. Those are the three cities, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So he could go and, let's say, Philadelphia wants to do something with Ben Simmons right now. They could trade Ben Simmons to Brooklyn, and they could take Kyrie in return. I know Stephen A. Smith yesterday said that, according to his sources, the Nets are ready to trade Kyrie for a bag of nickels. Like, they're over this.
Yeah, it's one of those like hard situations because you know that with that report in The Athletic, and it has so much more to do with the fight that Kyrie feels that's super important to him when it comes to off the court. And a lot of sources are saying that for Kyrie, like that's super important to him. And I know that people are wanting to, weigh out the, well, does Kyrie love basketball anymore? Well, what about basketball? What about his teammates? What about his championship year? What about the promises that he made to KD and James Harden and all of his teammates and Coach Nash? And I can't say what Kyrie should do because you do feel as if this is a bigger picture for him, regardless of if you agree how he's doing it or do not agree how he's doing it. At this point, I know it's a big conversation because it has become very political. There are a lot of people, politicians who are tweeting in support, or there are a lot of politicians who are tweeting in non-support. And, it does feel in this like icky gray area of water of what to be in.
You can't fight just for the sake of fighting. You're not smarter than everybody in the room. Just like I can't go out there and try and guard Kyrie at an NBA level. Kyrie is not smarter than the immunologists and the physicians and all the other doctors out there who have put in 8, 10, 12 years work on this. So that's one. Two, if you the quote, I'm not anti-vax, I'm anti-vaxxers, right? Like that doesn't make sense. We have this in society. We have mandates in society. We have rules in society. They are there to help people and to protect people. So if you're anti this, then extend the thought further out, right? Are you anti-speed limits? Are you anti-school zones? Are you anti-no smoking inside buildings? Because those are all things that came down from the government that said, hey, this is dangerous to others. Are you anti-drinking and driving? Sure, it's your choice to drink, right? Are you anti-driving, though? It's your car. It's your body, your choice. When your body, your choice begins to affect the people around you, it's different. And we've got to stop thinking this way. We got to find a way to get people like Kyrie to see past some of this. They've thought about it, but they hadn't finished the thought all the way. Again, we have things like this in society already. What's the difference in that and this? I don't know. I don't think there is one. I would love to talk to Kyrie about it, though.
But like a reminder that that's not what he is fighting for. The fight is for what the statement did say. He is fighting for when it comes to jobs and what people are mandating. I get the like correlation that you're trying to make, but it is bigger for what he's trying to say. Like it's not just about it's not about the speeding restrictions or whatever. It's about the job part. And we didn't know that. Like we didn't know that until yesterday. We thought it was more about vaccinations and is he anti-vax. I'm not saying that I agree with how he's doing it or what he's trying to fight for. I do think that at some point as human beings, like we're so judgmental. I can't say what he should or should not do or what is his beliefs or what he thinks is so important. I do think that we got to get people the space for it and say like, hey, I probably wouldn't do it that way or I don't agree with that. But we also can't nitpick it because he's choosing this. Like the biggest difference when it comes to other people is he's okay with the consequences, and he has said he's okay with the consequences that's happening with it. He hasn't fought it. He hasn't been speaking to the media. He hasn't been very public about it. So at that point is what else can we do and just say like, okay, well Kyrie's going to do Kyrie.
He's going to lose $18 million,
and he's okay with it.
Couldn't
though.
be me.
It would not be me. But he's saying he's okay with it. And at that point, you just got to say, well, he's doing what he thinks is best and he's trying to fight for something. I probably wouldn't do it that way. But at that point, he's not out here trying to like, he hasn't said anything or trying to say like, hey, let me do this. I have to do this. He's just saying like, y'all tell me what y'all want me to do.
I will say my issue with this particular route that he's gone is that through what was essentially a glorified press release of the words of Kyrie Irving, is it's inciting a group of people that continue to sit back and try to make this more political consistently. Yeah. And that's been the problem from the jump with the entire pandemic. Before there was even a vaccine ready to go, it became so political and it became, I don't want to have a choice here, but I need to have a choice here. And it's just gotten so convoluted. And so words like that, and whether we like it or not, Kyrie Irving is a very powerful basketball player. There are athletes do not have to be role models, but there are people who look up to Kyrie Irving. And now there are people from all sides of the aisle jumping in and trying to put Kyrie on this platform and be like, look, this is our guy. Look what Kyrie Irving's saying. People who have disagreed with every other thing that Kyrie Irving has ever said in his life. That's what's so messed up about it. And it's just continuing to add fuel and to fan the flames of this constant just arguing discourse that doesn't accomplish anything.
It's not accomplishing anything. No. It's not accomplishing. And like, I wish there was something that we were trying to really do that's something positive. I think it's one of those situations where you're also taking yourself, however it plays out. And let's say, because we talked about it yesterday, let's say New York changes their mandate as we move forward and progress in this pandemic. If they change their mandate where you don't have to be vaccinated to go into public facility, then what happens? Do you think the Nets will come out and say, okay, Kyrie, come on back? That's the next question. Regardless of what he's trying to fight and do, if the mandate changes, how all this started was the mandate. So for the mandate for the city of New York, that's what it is. That's what everyone has to go by. If that does change, do you think then Kyrie will come back and play for the Brooklyn Nets? Look, I got Ben Simmons wrong, so I don't know. I don't know if Kyrie's pulling up.
And we got Aaron Rodgers wrong too, so I don't know if he's striking out on this one.
That's the next thing, because of like how they publicly made that statement out there. Would Kyrie even want to come back and play if everything does change? I don't know.
I don't think he plays this year. I mean, obviously, like the Nets would do anything to trade him right now because this is just something you don't want. Like this is your point guard, and I get it. There's still a championship chaser. I wouldn't say that if Kyrie Irving is off that team, the Brooklyn Nets are the obvious choice to go to the NBA Finals from the East. Like, there are other teams chasing that. The Bucks could go back. You have even the Atlanta Hawks, like everything that they've put into it. There are teams that will push them. But you still have Kevin Durant. You still have the best player in the world right now. And you still have James Harden. And you added additional pieces. You got Patty
Aldridge,
Mills.
Blake Griffin.
You've got players on that tail end of their career, but who can still contribute. Like, the pieces are still there. You're not going to deal with a point guard who misses half the games. Like, it's just not going to work. So they chose a part-time employee in the NBA, Not going to work. Can't have the best of both worlds. So that's it.
I don't know why. Now I look back and I'm like, how did we think that was really going to work out? I really thought there was going to be a part-time situation where like there's going to be a plane that just takes Kyrie, a private plane just for Kyrie around. It's like, okay, guys, I'll meet you guys in Phoenix. Cool. See y'all later. Like, good luck.
But imagine like a 2-week homestand. Like you're going like 14 days.
The 6 games.
See you later.
They have a 6, and I think that was, and maybe that's why Brooklyn made that statement, because they do have 6 games. I think the second week, 6 games at home, and that would have probably been like more of a jarring thing to not have Kyrie for 6 games, and then you get on the road and like, hey, what's up, dude? Dap him up and like, you ready to go? And like that would have probably been a weirder situation, but we'll see what happens. I do think that like I hope Kyrie, if he's going to be a voice for the voiceless, we got to hear his voice. That's the only, like, that's my thing. It's like, we're all speaking for Kyrie or giving our opinions.
I don't need to hear anymore, honestly, at this point.
If he's going to do that, if that's the route that he's going to take, at some point, you got to be the voice in. Like, that's my thing. When people say, I want to be the voice for the voiceless, but you're not talking, and you're not, you're not stepping up. We don't quite know. So there are a lot of judgment going on. We are going to keep discussing and debating it, but we got to hear from him. And until we do that, this is going to happen. We're going to keep giving our opinions until we got to hear from you.
How voiceless are they? They seem pretty vocal to me. Like, I know what their point is. They're not voiceless. So what is he trying to be the voice of?
But we can't say that because we're not part of the. That's the only part. Like, that's the part that it gets into these gray waters. Because like even though I don't agree, we can't say that how voiceless are they because we're not part of it. It's just like how I can't speak for someone. I can't speak for someone else because I went a different route. But we don't know. Now I do. I agree that there are some people who are very vocal, but we do know that there's a whole other group who do feel as if they are voiceless. So we can't put ourselves out there and like how voiceless are you? We're not part of it unless we had someone on here that could. We're obviously sitting here at work and we know what we did, so we can't talk to that person.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I have nothing left to say about Kyrie Irving at this point. Like thank you, CJ.
God bless.
Rolling in here. Roll this tape back when tomorrow there's an update on this story, and we're right back in here talking about Kyrie Irving, giving him a voice consistently.
Let's keep going because it didn't stop there yesterday when it comes
I was ready to move to an island after. I'm just like, come on.
Let's stay in the NBA before we get to the NFL when it comes to Gruden because that's someone else's. A lot happening, but Ben Simmons, we did find out from Ramona Shelburne that Ben Simmons, he's shown up.